welcome back to the Floating Through Film podcast. This is episode 2. Today we are discussing the French New Wave. This is the first in a 4-part series, I believe, we're doing on it. And the reason why, and this was mainly my choice because we want to do a theme every 4 or so weeks, and French New Wave is a movement in cinema that I've always been very interested into. It's definitely inspired me, like my movie watching, and it's definitely gotten to me movies more and got me more interested in movies in general. So I'm joined here by my co-host Danny.
Hello.
And Blake.
What's up?
And so let's get right into it. So what do you guys think? What are your overall thoughts about the French New Wave? To start off with.
So, now that I've watched a lot of the French New Waves again, preparing for these episodes, my thoughts are actually a lot different than what I had maybe even a year ago to 6 months ago, when I kind of bought into the propaganda or the hype in terms of how when people stereotype the French New Wave, they think of a certain type of movie. They think of maybe Godard mainly.
Yeah, just Godard.
Maybe some Varda fans, but I'm just saying in terms of I don't know what audience I'm even talking about. Maybe popular letterbox users. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
That kind of audience. No, in terms of your average letterbox user that still movie literate.
Yeah.
But they might still stereotype the French New Wave as just what Godard did basically. Yeah. So not dumb movie fans or anything. Honestly, I'm not calling myself a dumb movie fan. Hopefully not.
Just stereotype as just old French movies.
Yeah. Or mainly just thinking of Godard. But then honestly, watching Romer and Truffaut and even some older Varda movies again, and Reznaz as well. Just thinking of all the different styles within this kind of movement.
Yeah.
Has been kind of the best part for me preparing for these episodes.
So, yeah. What do you Blake?
Yeah. So whenever Danny was saying that, I actually used to be that type of person that whenever you mention the French New Wave, it was just I just think of Godard. I would think of Varda because I had seen a couple of her movies already, but I would mostly think of Godard and Truffaut. But I'm glad that we're doing this series because it has educated me a little bit more, definitely, on the just how the variety that is in the French New Wave in general. There's so much different variety that these directors do. They're not the same at all.
Oh yeah.
I have my preferences on which directors I like more than others for sure. I think everyone will if they actually delved into it, but
that's honestly my favorite part though, right? It's not all one thing.
Yeah.
It's not I like Godard, so I like everything in the French New Wave.
Yeah.
Or it's I like Varda, so I like everything in the French New Wave.
Yeah.
I feel like those are two of the most popular right now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I just never got around to the French New Wave. I got 2,000 movies in, and I just never gotten around to it until now.
Honestly, that was crazy.
It's
at least
just
some of
I
you've
just
seen some Breathless before, right?
Which one?
Breathless.
I'd seen Breathless. I'd seen a few Godards mostly. I hadn't seen.
That's what I'm saying though.
Really.
That's what I'm saying though.
I'd seen a couple of Vardas, but that's it basically.
Yeah. Now you can see how a lot of people might be like, "Oh, I've got the gist of the French New Wave."
Definitely.
You can definitely see that. Some Varda.
True, yeah, but I mean,
it's not.
But what about you, Luke? This is your topic.
My French New Wave. I think what did it start with? I think I was exposed kind of with, I think just Varda and Godard. Actually, you know what? It might have been Demy. Actually, he was kind of my first exposure to it. I didn't really think of it as the French New Wave when I was watching it. I just heard Jacques Demy was really good, and so I decided to watch it. And it's I didn't really get the grasp of it when I watched it. It was more when I watched Varda, when I watched Cleopatra 7 for the first time, and then I watched Breathless and The 400 Blows, and I was like, okay, I kind of get it now, But that's generally how I started. I mean, and but yeah, so I guess probably should start with how did the French New Wave come to be to you guys?
That's a good question in terms of I was thinking we could talk about, well, at least personally what I wanted to mention again in terms of what got me interested, especially later on, more recently, is all the writing they did as film critics before they all became directors. At least the ones, in this episode we're talking about, spoiler alert, Truffaut and Godard later. They're two of their classic movies later in the episode. So just thinking about how they wrote a lot about movies and all types of movies.
Yeah.
Western. We're going to talk about these in later episodes, but talking about American movies, talking about you know, Western movies, Russian movies, but Italian movies for sure. But like, being able to, because this is just one of my favorite parts of movies in general is knowing that like I watch a really good movie and I like the movie by itself, obviously. But then the fact that I can just go and find like what this director wrote about, his thoughts behind it, and why he chose to do this kind of chose to make certain choices, and why he was making the movie, or even just get his personality through his writing. That's one of my favorite parts of actually watching movies. Is actually going and reading about them after. So,
do you think that's become less prevalent nowadays? Do you think directors are more afraid to come out about it? Because I feel
that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. That might be true, right? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Honestly, that's a good question because like nowadays, like, and it's also I also notice this like when I see like old directors like often like were like ruthless against other directors back in the day. Like Bergman hated everyone, bro. Like he was out for blood. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I think a lot of directors are just like too afraid to like offend, like insult anyone right now. Like they don't want to have bad blood with anyone, and pretty much they just want to keep their connections right now.
And that's a great point in terms of comparing that to the French New Wave directors. That they did not care, especially in their writings. They on purpose they were trying to offend people to some degree. At least to get people to think.
True.
Like they were making fun of people that didn't think American westerns were good because a lot of people in Europe thought they were bad. And honestly, they
were roasting British genre films because they thought they were terrible.
They might have been right about that. So.
I mean, honestly. But...
No, I can't. I don't know. I haven't seen that many of them, so really, I don't want to judge it yet.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good.
But so really the writing, like, and then that influencing why they wanted to make movies.
Yeah.
And I guess that can kind of lead us into talking about more just the auteur theory.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that's probably their biggest contribution.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for auteur theory, I don't think movies wouldn't be nowhere near as interesting as if everyone was just like auteur theory. Just it gives everyone a personality,
Yes, at least they emphasize that.
Yeah.
I mean, part of their point was there were already directors doing that.
Yeah, it's just it just got more commercialized.
Yes, exactly. They started branding the director way more than it used to be, right? Like, especially a lot of their early French New Wave movies, they became popular because it was like, oh, we're going to watch a French New Wave movie. It has a good title to it. Like, it's you could be seen as the cool person at the time watching it. But they last because they're good movies too. Not just that part. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and
at the same time they were selling that.
Yeah, it's super interesting because I think I read it somewhere like basically the French New Wave. One of the reasons it became influential in America is that all the youth in America were getting so like bored of all the new like Hollywood studio system that they just like started not watching them and started watching more French New Wave. Godard, Truffaut, like because it was just more interesting and.
Like the movie I always think of with that is specifically is Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh yeah.
Right, like everyone in America knows that those characters now because of that movie.
Yeah.
And yet that was directly influenced by the French New Wave. They were literally like, oh, you can do that in a movie. Let's do like, and it came out Bonnie and Clyde's early '60s, I'm pretty sure. So
somewhere around there. Yeah. I mean,
let me look it up.
Bonnie and Clyde's like '66, I'm pretty sure. '67.
I mean, I've never seen Bonnie and Clyde, but honestly, it just like sounds similar to Breathless.
67, yeah.
It was like, it seems like his take on Breathless. It feels like, I haven't seen it, but I mean,
it feels like an American take on that kind of movie, right? Where you're more, it's not about the story, it's about the character specifically in the story.
Yeah.
And like the movie I was thinking about this week, watch because spoiler alert, we're talking about Breathless later. The movie, thinking about watching that movie, the movie that kept coming to my mind was Terrence Malick's Badlands.
Oh yeah.
Just like obviously in terms of style, like Godard and Malick couldn't be more different. But at the same time, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. When I compare the two movies, you're following two characters that are not necessarily the best, literally murderers.
But it also makes you question that it is like, mainly with Badlands, I feel like is. Holly, like that's I kind of like the ambiguity of it.
She's more the supporter, right? Or like the same with the.
It gets a question of morality.
Yes.
Is she?
It raises the questions.
Yeah.
It makes you think about it.
And I mean, Breathless kind of does that with the other character. Do you feel like?
Are we going into Breathless?
No, I don't want to go
Oh,
super
yeah.
into it right now. I mean,
So what else do you want to mention then about the French New
I
Wave?
mean,
I'll mention that
Okay.
why I said that I had never got to the French New Wave is because I spent most of my movie time in Asia, and the
Okay.
Japanese New Wave is heavily influenced by the French New Wave, and I see that after watching a lot of the French New Wave, or after watching quite a few of the French New Wave movies for this podcast now,
okay.
that the
Okay.
Japanese New Wave is heavily influenced by the French New Wave for
So
sure.
what do you mean by that specifically?
Like Seijun, I'm specifically thinking of Seijun Suzuki right now, and like Tokyo Drifter, like those type of
Okay.
movies.
Oh,
Like they are
okay,
very
yeah.
style over substance. Like they follow the same type of characters that people like Godard or Truffaut would have in their
Yes.
movies. Like
Okay.
not great character, or like not
It's
like
almost
great
like two
people,
layers,
but
right? It's
yeah,
like the noir layer,
yeah.
but then the French New Wave influence on the noir.
Yes.
That they're
It's pretty
that they're-
great, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's honestly one of the best parts of movies,
Yes.
dude. Like, and related to the writing I was talking about with the French New Wave directors, they were also influenced by a lot of critics, but especially one that we're going to talk about in later episodes for sure is Bazin, and he was one of the early critics that really emphasized the importance of tradition
Yeah.
in cinema. Right, it's not all the same thing. These styles are evolving. Like literally, what Blake just mentioned was the form evolving. Right,
Yeah.
the noir is not one thing. It's been
No.
around for so long now. It has all these different, depending on what country you use or what country it's made in.
Yeah.
It changes.
Yeah.
But also you can see like the direct lineage of, oh, this would not happen if this didn't happen, and this wouldn't
sure.
happen if this didn't
Yeah.
happen, right? Like that's
Yeah.
one of the coolest parts about studying any art form. But for our generation, definitely film,
Yes.
Yeah.
because like it is one of the newest, and this is something they all understood. This is a new art form relative to all the other art forms.
Yeah.
Like they were writing in the '60s. It had only been around for what, maybe 70 years, if you're
Yeah.
counting the
If you're
1890s.
counting the 1890s,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you're counting the 1890s. That's not like compare that to painting or something. That's not even close to
No.
years. But
I mean, what I also want to talk about is more the technical aspect to introduce it.
yes,
You know,
yes.
like do you guys like the experimentation with the camera? You know, do you like the handheld? Do you like the jump cuts, the editing? You know, and the shooting on location. You know, what do you guys think about that? You know, like
Okay, this is what I'll say. I like their concept, their reasoning behind it, right?
Okay,
And one of their
yeah.
major reasonings was they were really mad at the time of every movie having to have these huge budgets and being like, oh, we can't make a movie unless it makes all this money because we spent all this money on it. And they were like, why can't you just take a camera and go on the street and film people just having a
Yeah.
conversation, even almost like you're filming them in public, literally, right?
Yeah.
And it costs $10,000.
yeah.
Why not? And that was one of the, to me, that's one of their biggest influences too, is just that idea of you don't need all this. Just think about how movies are sold nowadays. With
Yeah.
like, you can't make a movie unless it makes $1 billion at the box office. It's a failure or something.
Yeah.
Like they were fighting against the same kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
why can't you make a movie that was just $10 million and it makes 15 and it was a great movie?
Yeah.
You know.
We need a new French New Wave. You know.
Oh, we do. I mean, there will always be individual directors
There will.
trying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
For
And
sure.
that's, and in some ways, it's more like it's weird to think about it like this, but it's more like people releasing movies on YouTube or
Yeah,
Vimeo
It
and
is.
things like that,
No,
right? It's
for
like
sure.
True.
we're trying to get rid of as much distribution as possible from the people that are trying to make
No,
money.
you can look up just Google like horror shorts on YouTube, and you'll find some of the best horror like shorts that you'll find anywhere on YouTube, and it's just because it's
Yeah.
so low budget. These people just know how to direct a horror short,
Yep.
and they're not even like old. Like they're 18 to 25, like maybe even younger sometimes. That's really crazy.
And it's proof that you'll be more forgiving if you can tell the people behind it cared
yeah,
and were trying to be passionate. Well, like obviously a lot of I was just listening to this podcast about Breathless before we started doing this, and they were talking about how Godard, like a lot of the fast cuts people loved in the movie, where like all of a sudden it would just cut to a new scene. And some of my favorite parts of that are like, we'll talk about it later with the ending scene in Breathless, but where he would just cut all of a sudden to a new scene. And people were like, oh, that's crazy, you can just do that, without having to show like exterior,
breaking the
and then
rules of
someone
cinema,
to
yeah.
But he would just say like it was because we just ran out of footage and we had to just use the new footage.
That's funny.
Like, and partly that would probably be true, but partly he knew what he was doing as well.
Yeah.
Right? He knew the kind of effect it was creating. But at the same time, it's like you don't need to do everything, shot the same way you introduce every kind of scene, right?
And I think it gives it just kind of gives it a more authentic feel,
Yes, exactly.
Than, like if you watch like an old Hollywood movie, I like those movies, but like sometimes they feel a little, insincere, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
With their
overproduction.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and it just feels so like real, you know. The French New Wave, how they film things, you know. You feel like oftentimes like in Breathless or in Clear Friday 7, you feel like you're in Paris, you know, or in the Forge Blues as well.
Yes.
But yeah, you feel like you're in the city. You can feel like the griminess of the city. You can feel like the feel of it, Paris.
And that's what I want to also. That's a good way to talk about the French New Wave is literally how they film France or how they film Paris too, right? Because that's a big part of it is they're filming all mostly on the streets or in the villages
or even how they filmed Hiroshima, you know, like they go to somewhere else that they don't know and they still film it really well.
No, exactly, right? It's not in a studio with everything has to be perfect lighting and everything, right? No, that's a good way to talk about it as well, like because they are filming just on the outside and they're trying to film on location all the time. You actually get some cool different perspectives of Paris at the time.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking about this in terms of, like, I've watched a couple Eric Romer movies in the last week too.
Yeah.
And just thinking about how he films Paris versus how Godard films Paris, it's like you can just see the totally different styles and who they were just based on what they choose to film, how they want you to make Paris feel. You know.
I like how they're not afraid to show the bad parts of Paris, but you can tell their love for Paris.
Oh yeah, and that's the main thing, right? You can tell they both do love it. Yeah.
And I mean, everything I've seen, Paris looks cool. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're French New Wave, especially watching French New Wave movies.
Yeah, so. I want to go to Paris now. You know.
I'll just say this: there's no Arkansas New Wave for a reason.
Oh yeah.
Well, you don't consider mud
honestly, Arkansas is a
New
gorgeous state, though. It is a beautiful state.
It's a natural state. For a reason.
It is.
No, you consider that one robot movie Arkansas New Wave?
Oh god.
Freddy. It's on Netflix. Please go watch it.
I mean, Mud's beautiful. That was filmed in Arkansas.
Okay, yeah, and the
Hang the Banner.
Minori.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
That was literally like set like
we
have some
good Arkansas movies. There's some good Arkansas movies for sure.
Just a bit. I mean, we still have some work to do.
Sure.
I feel like.
Sure. If we're comparing ourselves to the French New Wave, we for sure have some.
Oh yeah, we lose that every time. You know. I mean.
But all right. Anything else, Luke, or should we go to the movie?
And we're back. So now we're gonna be discussing the two movies we picked for today. Starting with The 400 Blows. So what did you guys think of The 400 Blows? I mean, it wasn't really much to say about it, but like, because it
is a simple movie.
Yeah.
In terms of its story, like, I honestly kind of just like how simple it is. That's one of my favorite parts of it. Like, compared to the movie we're going to talk about after, Breathless, The 400 Blows just feels a lot slower, simpler in some ways.
A little more subtle,
It's more relatable.
I
think.
Yeah,
I think
so. Well, like relatable because everyone has been a child. They've all been to school. They've all had their friends in school. You've all gotten in trouble at school. You've all had fights with your parents. I have a stepfather, so I get the fights. Or like I get that relationship that he has with the stepfather. Yes. My relationship is definitely better than the one in this movie, but obviously,
so you can understand that feeling.
But I can understand the feeling that this guy is going through, at least in that situation.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people have heard to Breathless, because Breathless, I feel like people can relate more to that than a guy who kills a police officer and tries to tries to like run away with a girl, you know. But we've all been through that. I know,
we've all been through that.
But I mean,
but this is the thing though, like, it's also why I like The 400 Blows to some degree is he's way more sympathetic towards his character than Godard is to his male character in Breathless, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a certain amount of distance that he keeps in terms of he's not just like showing everything the kid does is good or everything he does is right. You know, he's kind of annoying. You know, like you can see why his parents would get annoyed by him. You know, he's kind of like he's very independent.
Yeah, but there's something like that makes you want to root for him.
Oh, no, he's independent, but I mean, at the same time, he's also like he's a legitimately like nice kid.
Oh,
like whenever his mom tells him to do something, he's like he does it. He's not he's not talking back.
It's more like
he's not doing stuff like that. He's actually he is a good kid.
Yeah,
it's like if she could have it. It's like she could have it way. Like I look at it from his point of view, and I'm like she could have it way worse.
But this is the thing. I think what he's really trying to say is there's really no such thing as a bad kid.
No, they're just kids.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And even someone like this, where on the surface you might be like, look at all the decisions he makes. You know, he doesn't listen to his teacher. He like just runs away from his class basically by punching that kid. A great scene where he just punches that kid and like runs away. But yeah, you get to see like you see a certain person saying, "Oh, that's just a bad kid," you know, like he never stood a chance, that kind of thing.
They say that in the movie, I'm pretty sure. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of the adults treat him that way, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the way Truffaut is sympathetic towards him is not the way a typical movie would be, like where you would see him all of a sudden succeeding at the end by getting an A on his test or something, or like the teacher loves him or something.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a very ambiguous ending. It's
I love the ending.
We can get to the ending. A little bit.
It's one of my favorite endings ever. Honestly,
great ending. But it's earned. That's why, right?
Yeah.
It's that ambiguous ending is earned because of the way he treats Antoine throughout the movie, right? He's never, we were talking about, he is sympathetic towards him for sure, but he's not like overly sympathetic towards him. He feels, in my opinion, he's way more honest towards him.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe he sees himself, obviously a lot of himself in that character he directs, but at the same time, he's kind of not like. There are certain movies where they're trying to tell a coming of age story, where by the end you can tell like no matter what the character did, the director's trying to force you to like the character no matter what.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that to me in Foreign Blows.
Yeah,
really. It kind of just like he stays the same character throughout, and you can like him if you don't. If you like him, and if you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
You know. And maybe the music you could say at the end kind of like influences to make you like him at the end, but I don't know. At the end, like we can just talk about the ending because the whole movie is about the ending to some degree, like just him feeling that freedom.
Yeah, but at the same time,
but it's
he's
gonna have to go
he's
back
alone
to
in the world. Yeah.
You know he's gonna have to go back.
I don't even think of it as freedom. I think of the scene before where they caught the kid that ran away to Paris or whatever for 4 days, and I think that's probably what's going to happen to him. But
exactly.
I haven't seen the
That's
sequel. I haven't seen the sequels or anything like that, so I don't know what happens.
Oh, dude, it's
but that ambiguous ending. That's what I thought happened.
Yeah.
It's like he's got like this moment of freedom, but he'll probably get caught again.
And that's why
he is a kid.
And you can see it in his face too. That's why I think that's why he used the freeze frame just to highlight it. Honestly, the freeze frame is just beautiful. Honestly, like
it's a great freeze frame. Just the close up all of a sudden after the camera's kind of just far away from him. It zooms into him. I'm pretty sure,
does,
right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Man, I mean, do you think he did better than Ray did?
And honestly, I was just gonna mention this because. We were talking about we don't know what happens after, but to some degree we do know what happens after because Truffaut made like 3 other movies about what happened after. Yeah. But that's the thing; he never directly references anything that really happens in the Foreign Blows in the later movies. It's more like you can. This is kind of off topic, but watching the Apu trilogy's last movie, Apu Sansar, The World of Apu in English, it reminded me of watching some of the later Truffaut movies about Antoine, in terms of watching the later movies and just having in the back of your head knowing what this kid went through.
Oh yeah, and
true, it really it's like it's just backstory that's earned, but it's never directly referenced in the movies. Kind of you just have to know about it, right?
Yeah.
And that's honestly probably a reason why I really like. After I watched The Foreign Blows recently, a couple weeks ago, I went through and watched those other ones with Antoine specifically because I kind of just wanted to see. His progression, because obviously Truffaut sees himself in that character, he's not hiding that. So how Truffaut sees his own growth and stuff. But the newer movies are also they have his own criticisms. It's just more adult life criticisms than compared to a child, right? And that leads us back to this movie, where I think he is honest, right? He's not just saying everything the kid is doing is good. He's just saying like. You can understand why. Look at his family life, or look at how the teacher treats him. Not even giving him a chance, that kind of thing. But I feel like I've been talking a lot. What else?
Yeah, I mean, So Blake, I mean, what? I feel like I should ask you your thoughts if you can even add anything. I mean.
No, I mean I feel like I was giving some thoughts while Danny was talking for sure, but no, I love the movie.
Yeah.
This is my first time watching it a few weeks ago, and
I didn't know it was your first time.
No, yeah, it was my first time watching it. Like I said, I haven't been in French New Wave before, so this is my first time with a lot of these movies besides some Varda and Godard. But no, I loved it. I like the simple storytelling. I saw a lot of similar. Like a lot of influences on later movies specifically from the 400 Blows, obviously.
Yeah.
I honestly just like character dramas, and I like the character in this one. Like I love Antoine.
Yeah.
I love the kid, and if Truffaut, I honestly thought that he didn't portray the kid as being all good, obviously, but I don't think he portrayed him as being like bad or anything either.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't
sure.
consider anything that he does in the movie like bad.
I was saying
per
that's
se.
why I like the word honest.
Yeah.
He's honest. Like it's like this is just something that would happen with a kid.
Yeah.
Right. It's not. He's not necessarily saying it's good or bad. It's just. This is just something that happens.
He's just showing it.
Right. It's just showing it.
Yeah.
And obviously he's sympathetic towards him, and so you could say in a way it is good. He's at the end saying it's good, but I mean, isn't that how we're like? To a certain degree, you have to feel that way about kids. You know, because you can't really be like, oh, they're bad people, because like we know they can't really understand everything they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what honestly that can kind of lead us into more of the formal aspects of the movie, like in terms of how he shoots it.
Yeah.
In terms of always shooting Antoine like he's the adult. In the movie. You know, the camera's always at his level, or him and his friend's level.
I love that.
You know, So like he's treating him like an
they
adult.
aren't looking down at him.
Yes, exactly, literally.
And I mean, I feel like that aspect is also helped by Jean-Pierre Lot's performance in that. Like,
yes, we need to talk. Yeah, we definitely.
Oh
need to
my
talk about
gosh! Like,
because
yeah, I mean, I saw. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a clip of the audition where he auditioned for the movie, and you could just tell in that audition, he is the most confident, cocky, son of a gun ever.
Yes.
Like, he's so ready for the moment. You could tell in the audition. Like, I'll need to show you guys. Like after
you
this,
can tell he's not gonna have any problem with the camera in front of him. He's gonna be the same person.
And like I think I forgot. I haven't seen it a bit, but like I think he was like 14 or 15. He's like, and the interview goes, you have to play a 12-year-old, right? He's like, oh yeah, I got it. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Don't even worry about
really?
it.
He's 15 in that movie.
I think he's like 14.
Okay,
let me look that up. Let me look
still,
that up. Actually,
okay.
Hold on, but.
But I see what you're, but it's that confidence. I can do it.
I mean, he needed that confidence for this because he's a.
The character has to be confident in this movie because he is very brash. So.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I think it does a good job of showing that in terms of it's almost a fake overconfidence on purpose, right? He's trying to hide, obviously he's trying to hide a lot that's going on, like, but he knows he has to be like that because his parents aren't obviously paying attention to him at that.
So
moment.
one thing that I actually do want to ask you guys is, do you think he actually plagiarized that essay? Because I don't think he did. I think he just wrote a great essay, and the teacher thought he couldn't do it because he wanted to believe he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's the reason he got shipped off to military school.
That's what I really thought. So
like that's what I thought, and I was like, that's messed up, man. I mean, because that's literally just like kind of what the movie's bringing the point to, of saying like the adults don't think this kid can ever change, so he obviously can't write a paper like this.
Yes.
He obviously can't study like this, even though he almost burned his house down because he was
a really
studying.
good point
So
in terms of like, and when a kid understands that adults think of him that way, they're just gonna act. That way.
they are going to try
right?
after that.
Yes, when they realize
because after that is especially whenever he was like, I don't care anymore. So
and that kind of. I mean that it's kind of related because when you say after that he was kind of done, that's really after that point is when he gets sent to military school, right? And like that has one of the saddest moments for me is when his friend comes to visit and they won't even let him see his friend for a little bit.
Yeah, dude.
And I feel like that's when he decides.
Messed up, man.
That's when he decides because remember his mom is like, don't expect your dad, he's not coming, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then the real blow was like his friend was there and they wouldn't even let him see him.
Yeah.
Like he was
400 blows.
Man, what was I saying?
You were talking about the kid.
You
were talking about the kid.
I had to.
And this is have either of you seen Rushmore?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've seen Rushmore.
Do you remember his friend in Rushmore?
Yeah.
He literally reminds me of the friend in 400 Blows.
I can see that.
And it might be on purpose.
Dude, Wes Harrison.
I mean, come on, Rushmore has definitely influenced at least a little bit.
For sure. That relationship, for sure.
Yes, the relationship between those two. Yeah. I mean, it's a little different in Rushmore, but you can see what I'm saying. And the characters kind of, those friends remind me of the same. Like, if you've seen both, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I did look it up, and he was 15 years old when it was filmed.
Wow. See, I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, I mean, and then also he went on to become like a really good actor too, which is crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, his performances in like Day for Night and Irma Vep, like everything I've seen him, he's just been amazing in. Like, he aged really well. He wasn't just a child star that just was like a one-hit wonder. He kept doing it, but
that's true. Like, do we have an actual? I'm trying to think if we have an actor like that now.
Christian Bale was a child actor.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he was in that Spielberg movie, wasn't he?
E.T. or something?
No, Empire of the Sun. I think he was a child in that.
I remember that.
I have no idea.
Yeah, he was like a hold
Okay.
on, yeah, how old was he in that? I don't even remember.
I feel like there is definitely some, but I don't know.
But either way, John Pierre Lot is a great example of that. Yeah, because you don't always see that. Especially, I mean, he had the advantage of having a great director. I'll be like, I'm going to keep you in my movies, you know. But it's a two-way street. It's both ways.
I mean,
It's both ways. He obviously found a great actor that carries the movie.
Yeah. Carries the movie. Yeah. True.
I mean, he really does.
True. I mean,
Like
he does.
his face is one of the things you're going to remember the most. Literally,
Yeah,
the face
it
frame
is.
at the end.
But yeah. Also, another thing I wanted to get into is how do you think it is similar to other Truffaut movies? Do you think
Okay.
what similarities can you see with other Truffaut movies to this movie?
Hmm.
Because I know you've been watching a lot of Truffaut lately, so
I have a decent amount. Really, like what I've been saying, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is that kind of honesty towards your characters.
yeah,
You know, and that's something I like about a lot of directors. But I have noticed this about Truffaut, like Day for Night especially, right?
Oh,
The whole
yeah.
movie's about that in a certain way of like just showing all the different characters it takes to make a movie.
yeah,
But really through just the movie lens, showing just all the different people, you know,
Yeah.
just showing all the types of people, and, you know, and why you should why they're worth filming, you know, literally that's what the movie's about. So
No, I definitely like your honesty thing because I do think he shoots all most. Like I've only seen I was gonna say not a lot of similarities because the only three I've seen from him are 400 Blows, Day for Night, and Shoot the Piano Player, and those are three tonally distinctly different movies. Like they are
Yeah.
different genres of
Yes.
movies, but they
Yeah.
all do look at their characters the same. They
Yes.
film them honestly. They don't try to have opinions that tell you how to feel about these characters and any of them really.
yes, and that's honestly, you mentioned that, it's one of my favorite parts about Truffaut in general is, and I guess we're going to see this with a lot of the French New Wave directors, what we talk about in the next few weeks, but the experimentation with style and tone, right?
Yeah.
Like Blake said, all those movies feel totally different. The stories are way different in all of them,
yeah,
and yet they still feel the same because of Truffaut. Right?
yeah. And I also think I also feel like Truffaut's movies are always very grounded. You know, they're always very. It's kind of hard to explain, but you know.
There's one. Okay, I don't want to spoil the moment. But there's one moment in Small Change, that's like just completely opposite of that. But
Oh,
for the
really?
most part,
I
he
feel like
is.
They're
completely
very,
grounded.
you know.
But when he's not grounded, he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
Right?
that would make sense. Yeah.
Because there are some, you could say like Jules and Jim is not always totally grounded.
I don't even think Shoot the
know?
Piano Player is always totally grounded.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
but for
like-
the most part, he is. I can say that.
Yeah, I can.
For the most part,
It's kind of hard to explain why I feel that way, but like it's
maybe
kind
in
of
the coming weeks we can talk about more.
Yeah. But
Because we'll definitely have to talk about some more Truffaut movies.
yeah, I mean,
What about the next one though?
Breathless.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah. I mean, so I know Blake. I feel like we should
Yeah,
start
we
with
should
your
start with Blake,
thoughts.
yes. The
Blake,
hater.
you're not-
The
you're-
The
resident
hater. I'm not a
Yeah.
hater on it. So I
wrong with
am not. I don't love Breathless because I respect and love the filmmaking in it, all the different shots and all the experimentation. But I hate Michelle, and I don't like Patricia that much. The reason is I go back and forth about these characters. Honestly, I just hate them in general. Like that's the reason why I don't like the movie because I don't like watching these two characters together. I don't think they work together. I don't get it. I don't understand why they like each other.
But do you think that's the point?
But see, that's what I was getting at. Like, I think
To
that
some
some
degree.
people, I think some people see this and think that I think they're thinking that Godard is smarter than he is. Honestly, sometimes like
Okay,
I don't think he.
damn.
Well, because I honestly, with the Godard movies I've seen, this man is a raging sexist. Like, I mean, honestly, like.
I mean, yeah.
And
I don't know if
so-
I can disagree with that. I'm not gonna lie.
So whenever he's
I don't know about raging sexist.
Okay,
but-
maybe not raging, but I mean like Alphaville is very sexist. I hate that
Okay, I
movie
need
so
to watch
much.
that.
But no, I've
haven't
seen
seen
I've seen a few Godards, and I don't really like. I know a woman is a woman. That movie, just the title is like.
Yeah, that movie was
Like,
like
it's
fever
just
dream.
I don't understand. Like, but this movie, people. I understand the opinion of saying he portrays Michelle as this loser that is kind of like. Because he gets all of his quotes from like the Free Bogart movies. Like he tries to act cool, he's not cool. He's like,
But
like
that's the point,
he's
right?
a loser. Yeah,
He's
exactly.
trying to be Bogart.
No, he's trying to be Bogart. I think Godard you could say that he's filming him like a loser, but I don't think he is trying to do that. I think he's trying to show him being cool. I think you're supposed to like this guy. Like I think you're
I don't
supposed
know.
to
I
like
don't. I
this
definitely
guy.
disagree.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, because
about
that's
that.
whenever I watch the movie, like everything he's
no.
doing makes you try to like this guy. Because like you're supposed to feel for him whenever he dies at the end.
But that's
like,
Or do
you're
you think?
supposed to
Or do
be
you think the
sad.
character is trying to vie for your, for you
no.
to like him?
I think he's like a film noir hero, an anti-hero, right? Where he's trying and you might not disagree compared to someone like Humphrey Bogart or Cary Grant. I don't know about Cary Grant as much, but like definitely Humphrey Bogart, where it's this. No matter how much bad he does, you can't help but liking him when he's on screen.
But see, I don't
how
like
cool
the
he is.
show.
But there are a lot of people, obviously, that do like him.
No, exactly, and
Yes.
that's why I'm
But
saying.
you're saying
like,
Godard
I think Godard likes him. I think Godard wants us to like him.
He's
and I
definitely,
think that
yes.
the
Certain
problem with like
moments,
Patricia is I like Patricia. I think that if a different director did Patricia, I would like it more because I've seen all these other Godard movies where the women in his movies are just like these sex symbols that are just there to like be talked down to by the man. Like they're just there so like the man can show how much how intellectually superior he is to the woman. And that's not how it is in this one because she's a strong-willed woman. But at the same time, I think he's trying to make it seem like she's a seductress that's leading Michelle to die.
Yeah, and
like that's how it
I
feels
don't
to
know.
me.
But see, what you
I
saying
don't
that
know.
made me actually think of this in terms of her character. I feel like we're supposed to be in her shoes more in terms of while we're watching him, we see literally like how she feels in terms of I like him for all these parts, but deep down I know he's not a good person and I should not be with him.
Maybe it's just because
And
I
at the
can't
end
see
when
the
she
parts
calls
that
the
she likes.
and
I
when
don't
she
know.
at the end when she calls the cops, that's like us being like almost us being like, okay, we made the right decision, you know, like obviously it's not gonna
Yeah,
last.
but then she also goes back on that and tries to tell him to run
She
away.
does, but
so-
still, that's what I mean. Obviously, that's what love is, and she loves him.
Yeah,
that's
but
different. In terms of
I don't know.
how are we supposed to feel towards the anti-hero at the end of the day?
Yeah.
I mean, because
But see, he doesn't do anything heroic to be like an anti-hero.
no, he's trying to be
That's-
though. He's trying to be.
I mean, and with your point,
To her.
and with
to
your
her, yes.
with your point of how Godard like portrays women in a sexist way, I kind of agree with that. And I think it's why. So in Masculine and Feminine, Paul's the main character. Jean-Pierre Law is in it. I forgot to mention that when I was mentioning Jean-Pierre Law performances. But in that movie, he's dating Madeline, aspiring pop singer, and she's a strong female character. And it was really interesting to me. It might have been why I liked it so much is that for once Godard's actually like portraying a very strong, you know,
But see, I can't definitely. I haven't even seen that many Godard, but I can't say for once because like, for one thing, I think a lot of what Blake's saying is true in terms of maybe you could say he's sexist in terms of the characters he likes portraying, in terms of he likes portraying you know, these movie star type characters that like to act like movie stars and that are sexist towards women. But at the same time, I don't think it's not like he always likes these characters too. Like Michelle dies at the end for a reason, you know. And like there are scenes like I remember this.
Because
I remember this
of a noble reason to Godard, in my opinion. Like he dies because Michelle doesn't want to leave her. Like he does like
But
he
see, I
doesn't want
disagree.
he still believes in their love. Like he doesn't want to
Yes.
leave her. And like I think that's supposed to be a noble thing at the end. And I don't
know, 'cause,
agree. I don't know.
Okay, because one of the things that made me like him more this time was at the very end, when they're talking about, am I going to go to prison? He's like, oh, I won't mind going to prison. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie. She's like, oh, you would hate prison. He's like, oh, I could do it. You know, I'll just stare at the walls. And you're like, just the whole movie we've watched, it's like, no way this guy would do that.
No.
Yeah.
And the next cut is one of those fast jump cuts, automatically to him on the street, like already just trying to leave.
Yeah.
You know, like even he can't lie to himself about that, and that's why he runs away. To me, it's like he knows he can't be in prison. You know, that's why he keeps talking about Rome and everything. You know, like we have to get to Rome, we have to run away.
So,
But that doesn't mean like I don't think Godard likes him. Like I just think he sees this character as destined to end like this. You know.
yeah.
The movie starts with his ending, basically, with the killing the cop. Like you can tell this guy's too dumb to, you know, get away with killing the cop.
His
Like
face
he's
is
just
starting-
literally running around Paris the whole time with his newspaper everywhere, with his face in the newspaper everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Godard does a good job, better this time watching it, of really subtly portraying that she is way smarter than him at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I
she is
completely
definitely
agree.
smart.
She's more aware
Yes.
than maybe just this
Yeah.
dumb girl that's just falling in love with this stupid French guy. Dumb
Yeah.
American girl that fallen.
Dumb American girl.
She is American.
She
Yeah,
is,
she's
yeah.
American.
She's
yeah.
New Yorker.
But how about the technical aspects of it? Do you are you like mostly on board with all that?
Oh yes,
or-
no, I love the filmmaking of it.
Yeah.
The main problem I have is I just don't like watching the characters. Like I just don't
Okay,
think
yeah,
it
that's
works.
fair. I really think that's
honestly.
fair.
Yeah,
I just don't think it works. For me, it doesn't work. I don't know. For you guys, it obviously does. But
It does.
and
Yeah.
for a lot
Honestly,
of people,
talking about it
I'm
more,
in the minority.
I might raise my rating.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
honestly,
I'm a
yeah.
minority, obviously.
Man, talking about Breathless is nice because, like, man, I just, the main reason I just to get into why I love like Breathless. I mean, I think I have it like 4 stars on Letterboxd. Honestly, I haven't watched it in a while. I need to rewatch it, but probably should have.
But it's a
before
movie
watch
that
it.
always sticks in your head. At least
Yeah,
moments of
and
it.
I just love the noir, like the mood of it, the score, the just the I feel like the dialogue is so smooth. The way like he just like the characters just
feel
like
natural.
yeah, it just feels so
Yes.
natural and smooth.
I saw this
and-
quote. I don't remember the exact quote, but he said something about the movie where it was just basically like I was just filming the two actors. You know,
Yeah,
like they
yeah,
were
it
alive.
definitely
I was
has that
trying to-
feel.
as close to as possible, like just letting them talk almost. Like I'm sure there was a lot of improvising they were doing, just letting them talk and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I really do feel that's honestly one of my favorite parts is how natural the characters talk to each other.
Yeah.
Because it's another funny part, like in terms of him not obviously not being a great guy. It's like the opening scene of him with the girl is not with her. It's with him asking another girl for
Yeah,
money,
yeah,
and then he
yeah.
literally goes, and then she doesn't have money, and then he goes to see her. You know, like obviously, like watching it this time, knowing he's gonna die and knowing she's gonna make the choice that she's gonna call the cops. It makes me like the movie more in terms of, like he's obviously has this kind of desperation about him. Like
Yeah.
he knows deep down he's kind of dumb.
But
about
I
killing
think
the cop.
that the problem with that is, and I think the problem with Godard is that he does film him like you're supposed to like him. Because he wants you
in
to
some
like him.
ways,
He wants
at
you
some
to like
moments.
him.
Okay, oh yeah, I was gonna mention this earlier, but there's a scene where he's kind of just being like he's talking about he calls her an 8 out of 10. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, remember he's like,
Yeah.
like a lot of French girls or like a lot of American women and like Swedish women. I forget exactly what he says, but he calls her 8, and while he's having that whole rant. Godard just starts playing this huge train soundtrack over him, like just trying to drown him out, you know? Because
Yeah.
immediately after he stops talking, he starts playing the music again. Like, and there's little moments like that throughout the movie where the soundtrack in the back, or just what they switch the conversation to after or something,
Yeah,
where you can tell.
Godard's not taking him seriously.
Yes, he's not taking
Yeah.
him seriously. He's trying to film. He's trying to film him, at least in my opinion, like he was a film noir hero, right? Like he was Humphrey Bogart, but also at the same time making you realize that he's just
He's a
guy
phony.
yeah, he's a phony. Yeah, he's a dumb criminal almost.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
you can be a dumb criminal and be cool at the same time. It's hard to admit, but you can be. It's true.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think he's cool. Though.
That's true.
That's the problem.
Okay,
I don't
yeah.
click with that part.
No, but could you?
But I think too
could
many
you see
people
why
do
she
click
would
with
think
that
she's?
part.
could
No,
you-
that's
you
the
can't
that's
see
where
that.
the disconnect happens with me in this movie. Is I don't understand how she thinks this guy's cool.
Yeah.
Like he's just a
Okay.
deadbeat loser to me. Like I don't know.
He's got some cool moments. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know,
on.
man.
You don't like the whole lip thing? they
No,
do?
that's the only thing I was
Yeah.
thinking about. Like that's
you don't
the
like you don't
only
think the
thing I thought was
score's like
okay.
cool? You think the score?
Well, the score that's different. That's different. That's not him. Like
I mean,
that's
it's just-
Godard.
It's,
like,
it's
the
kind of
score
what I
is
think about
definitely-
when I think about the movie though. That's
Oh, really?
what I was getting at. When I think about the movie, I think about the score because like
The score is very nice, but a lot of noirs have really, really good scores because they are like noirs are very good.
Yeah.
I mean, they got really good scores. I mean, Miles Davis' score in
Oh, yeah,
Elevator
no,
of the Gallows
don't
was
even
really,
get me started.
was really good.
oh man. But now I feel like a good conversation point would also be what similarities can you see between this and the 400 Blows? Do you feel like-
Similarities.
Yeah.
I mean, just on a very basic level, I'd literally think of the streets.
Yeah,
how much of
yeah,
the streets
yeah,
and
that
the cars outside you see, and them walking across the street and walking on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a very big thing with the French New Wave, but especially with those two.
Yeah. And
Um,
also how you kind of get transported into Paris.
yes.
Yeah, kind of how I was talking about
Yes.
earlier in the episode.
I mean,
but-
honestly, I feel like that way more with 400 Blows. It feels like they're way more going around the city and stuff.
yeah.
Enough. I mean, I meant Breathless.
Yeah, I was going to say, I
In terms of
disagree.
there being, yeah, no. In terms of them being in the car, driving around, and everything like that.
yeah, but
But 400 Blows as well, like, yeah, especially when they're just walking around the street. Or a great shot in 400 Blows is when they're all going to, like, they're on some like field trip or outside, and they're all walking in a straight in a line, and then slowly you just start seeing the kids run out of the line, like 2 by 2, and they're all like running their own way. While
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's honestly like an early drone shot. It's not. It's probably not a drone. It's like some kind of
No,
crane
no,
or
it's like
something.
a crane,
It's like a crane on a
probably.
building or
Probably.
something.
I mean, they
but-
showed that in Day for Night, like that crane shot. I don't know
Yes,
if you remember
yeah.
that, but that's why I imagined that was
It reminded me of
probably.
that. But I love that scene in Foreign
Yeah.
Blows too.
Yeah, I mean,
But like that gets me to my point of just literally the streets. That's what I think
Yeah.
about. You know, and
they're also they're both character driven.
oh yeah,
for sure.
yes, yes.
Very character driven.
But the characters are so different. That's why I don't think of
Yeah.
that similarity wise. Like,
But they are characters.
yes, oh yeah. Okay, we should talk about that. Which is your favorite character of the three main ones?
The three main ones and
All Breathless. So the two main,
okay, so
two main
gotcha.
Breathless, and then Antoine and Foreign Blows.
I kind of have to
It's
say
Antoine.
Antoine. I have to
Okay.
say Antoine. I'm not
Although
gonna lie.
Patricia is definitely
Yeah,
a good
Patricia,
character.
I
She's a
really
good
liked her.
character.
I mean, I like the characters in Breathless, like as character. No, I don't.
Michelle
yes.
Bottom 5 character. No, I'm just kidding.
But
That's
I
too
mean,
much.
I just think Antoine's too good of a character and too like.
He's too
well-rounded.
real. He's more real
Yeah.
than the other two.
Too
Oh,
more
definitely,
relatable,
yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean, you can just tell he's very personal to Truffaut and the
Yeah.
screenwriter mentioned last
Yeah.
time, Marcel Moussi. Yeah, you can just tell it's way more like it's supposed to be way more authentic than like I mean in Breathless they are trying to be characters to some degree.
Yeah.
You know, like the Hollywood influence is huge there. And that's
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like okay, what did you like about it the most then?
I
mean,
like.
it doesn't sound like you hated it. Or
No, I don't
so-
hate it. I
Yeah, was
definitely
kinda
I
kidding.
enjoy watching the filmmaking. I just don't
Okay.
like the characters, which
That's
is
fair.
why I won't watch this too many more times probably in my life. I don't know. Maybe I'll come around to it eventually.
In like 20 years,
But-
you're like, oh, maybe I'll throw this on again.
Maybe he's cool after all, you know.
Maybe he is cool. Maybe
No,
once I get
no, Breathless will be canceled by then. You know.
Oh my
it's just-
god.
Ah,
No,
okay,
Godard will
okay.
be canceled in general.
I mean, Godard has definitely tried to be canceled.
He's about to be
numerous
dead,
times. This
so,
guy's not going to be
yeah.
canceled. Come on.
He's gonna die soon, so I don't
Yeah,
think.
hey,
No,
hey,
my
come
favorite
on,
part
come
was
on.
definitely probably the
Sorry,
score, though.
Godard. I mean, he's like 90 something. Come on.
We're gonna
Hey,
have
we're
to
all
do-
going to die someday.
We're gonna
That's
have to do a
true, yeah.
retrospective soon. So.
But him sooner. No. Joking. But
No, my favorite part was probably definitely it was the score, and I did like the cuts. The cuts.
yeah,
were
the
really
cuts
nice,
were
too.
beautiful.
Yes. Yes. Some
Those are my
great
two
fast
favorite
cuts,
parts.
yeah.
And I mean, the movie just looked amazing. Like,
It
it's
did.
gorgeous. I mean,
It is.
that goes
Honestly,
without saying.
yeah, Foreign Blows. I think of the piano, the theme song in Foreign Blows.
Foreign Blows, honestly, one of my favorite parts was the scene where he's in the printing factory and he almost gets caught by the two guys there just trying to live there. I don't know why I like that scene so much. It's just like because he ran away from home, didn't have anywhere to go, and didn't want to get caught, obviously. But so I don't know. I just kind of like that scene a lot.
It is a
Yeah.
sad scene. Like
Yeah, it's just like this guy. This is what he thought he had to do to get noticed by his parents. And
Yeah.
I was like, it's just really sad.
but it's honestly kind of just like I guess it's ironic or something. I don't know what word to use, but him getting caught, putting it back instead of stealing
Yeah,
it. It's
exactly.
just like
Yeah.
just a
Oh my
classic
God.
example of adults being like he was doing the right thing in that moment,
He
and that's
was,
what he gets in
yeah.
trouble for. Like
That's funny.
it's kind of goes off the
Classic.
point you were saying
Literally
earlier about him not even getting believed when he does write a good essay.
Yeah.
You know.
But, also, another good question. Like, what would you say some of your favorite scenes in those movies that are just like on a technical level? Just like, what shots do you just like are like wow?
From these two?
Yeah, honestly, for me, it's the
okay.
I love the shot at the end of Breathless where the camera's just moving down the street. After he gets shot.
And then her falling, and then
yeah,
yes,
I
a great
love that
Yes,
shot.
that's a great
Oh my
shot,
goodness,
yes.
and has the
Famous, very-
does it have a landmark in the background?
I forgot what is in the background.
It's the Arc de Triomphe. Is that what it's called? Arc
might
de
be,
Triomphe.
yeah.
I think you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
thing in the roundabout. Yeah, dude, I love that shot. That shot's so good, dude. I also just love the
That's a good
scenes when they're
question,
driving in the
so-
car in general.
Yes, that's what I would think.
Yeah.
Or honestly, okay, this is what I think of is when I think about. I'm gonna think about most about because you mentioned earlier what do we like most about it. What I think about most is the structure of the movie in terms of. I forgot how long the bedroom scene was to get
Oh,
to the
yeah.
other two characters. It's like almost documentary style and just filming a conversation they might have had.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's revealing so much about them, even though it still feels like just a normal everyday conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
Just in terms of like what they choose to talk about.
Yeah, and it's
you
it's
know?
like isn't it right right when you see them like meet on camera on the first time? Isn't that I haven't seen it in a while. You have to
It is
remind
the
me.
first time they meet. Yes.
Yeah,
It is
so
the first time they
it
meet
kind
in her
of
bedroom.
it kind of it's a good introduction. I feel like yeah.
The first time Patricia Michelle?
Yes, in the bedroom.
No,
Do they meet on the
they
road?
meet on the road on
Yeah.
the street.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
telling
they
the
meet on the
newspapers,
street.
yes.
But like
you're right,
to
you're
the
right.
audience, I'm
In
saying
terms of
yeah.
audience, yeah.
But-
In terms of we actually hear them talk a lot
But what shots do
on
you
their way
like?
to the bedroom.
Well, I mean, from 400 Blows, I'm just thinking of, for some reason, whenever you asked that, the thing that popped in my head was never the dropping water balloons on people. I don't know why I thought of that, but that's just the scene that stuck out to me. It was just kids being kids, you know? Another scene where kids are being kids. Not necessarily bad, not necessarily good. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Wait.
He's dropping a. They go up to like the very top of that building and drop water balloons on people, and I'm like, this is just so dumb, but okay. Just a great bit of world
scene
building.
on, of course, the classic scene on the spinny thing. I don't know.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's a classic.
The
I mean,
amusement park ride.
yeah.
That looks fun. Like I haven't seen that.
I've actually been on. I've actually been on.
You've been on one of those?
It's
I don't know if I've ever seen that at a theme park.
Oh,
it was in a theme park.
No,
in
the one where
Carousel.
he's like it's spinning really fast and he's on the very edge of it.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Oh
you can,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
But the
move
ones I've
upside
been
down
on
on
are
it.
like you're in like a cage kind of thing. You're not like fully like.
okay, yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, because I've been to one. There's some amusement.
That looks
parks.
fun.
No, see
though.
that.
Yeah, it's
that,
cool. It feels weird.
That just feels like you're training for like NASA or something. No, I did love that scene though, where he's just like moving sideways.
Yeah,
and
it
he's
goes
like
upside
it's
down.
I was just
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
guy,
Oh,
just
man.
having fun.
But I think that's good though.
Yeah, I mean.
We should talk about which one would we have if we had to recommend one of them to the audience? They're listening. They haven't watched either one. Which one are you recommending?
400 Blows.
I mean, it depends on what type of movies they like and how into movies they are.
Okay, now you're getting too detailed. No,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
mean,
yes
I
or
don't
no
know.
question. It's a yes or no question. It's a one or two.
Let's see. Yes.
I mean, it's hard to like say. I mean, I feel like they should watch both of them. I mean,
Okay, yes, obviously we're reviewing both.
But
If you were
I'm making
going
you
to die,
pick.
if
I'm
you were
making
going
you
to die
pick.
tomorrow, you could only watch one movie. Which one were you?
If you're
which
gonna
one would
die
you watch?
tomorrow?
Between these two.
Between these two, which one would you watch? 400
Okay.
Blows for me, pretty easily, honestly. But
that's hard. I'd probably. No, okay.
Okay, I'll let you think about it. I'll go
I
first.
kind
I'll go
of.
first.
Okay, yeah, you can go.
I think I also have to say the 400 Blows.
Okay.
I think I also have to say it, yes.
Yeah, I want to say the 400 Blows, but I kind of want to pick
Make
Breathless.
the Breathless argument.
Yeah.
Make the Breathless argument.
Breathless, you know, it just shows. I feel like if someone had only seen. I feel like it'd be a good movie to show someone if they'd only seen like the classic Hollywood movies and they haven't really been exposed to many other old movies. I feel like it would show them, hey, old movies can be just as like energetic and free spirited than.
see, if I'm talking to a person like that won't like the 400 Blows, do I even want to be talking to them? I mean, come on.
I mean, I know what he's saying.
No, I know what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Like, you could honestly see a lot of similarities between the movies nowadays, more in some ways to the 400 Blows. I mean, to
Yeah.
Breathless than the 400 Blows.
I think it's a lot. Well, I'd say it's more fast paced in some scenes.
Yeah.
No, it's more fun. It
fun.
tries to be. It tries to be fun. Like the 400 Blows is not a fun movie. I mean, it's like
Sorta, yeah.
it's fun for us, kind of, but like it's a depressing movie.
Yeah,
and
for the most
in
part.
general, it's a depressing.
There's definitely
it's a
some fun
depressing
scenes
movie.
in it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
Definitely,
definitely
but
is.
like,
Definitely is.
But in general, it's not. It's a kind of a depressing story about what this kid is having to go through. But so like, I understand what you were saying.
and then I guess before we wrap this up, you were talking about how we should to rate these. We should say whether we'd recommend it to someone. Like,
Yes.
not just like which one we'd rather recommend, but would we just recommend it to someone in general? Like, if let's just say someone that's wanting to get into that just likes movies and just would you recommend this movie to people?
Okay, yes.
Like, yeah, I don't know. There's not really much
Okay, the reason we were
explanation.
talking about, we'll just go into why we said we want to rate it like this. 'Cause,
Yeah.
For one reason, I obviously I give ratings on Letterboxd, but I feel like my ratings will change even over the year. Like the more I watch or other movies and stuff, I don't know if it'll always hold true. Versus whether being like, would I watch this in the future? Would I recommend this to someone in the future? I feel like that yes or no might stand the test of time. And I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
For both movies, to me, I would definitely recommend for
Okay.
different reasons. Like especially talking about it more now. I just feel like, kind of tying back to how we were talking about the French New Wave at the beginning, and what I mentioned was, I just feel like even these two very not basic, but classic French New Wave movies that everyone, even people that haven't seen that many French New Wave movies, have seen.
Yeah.
These two. Even these two movies do a good job of showing the diversity in styles of even those. First of all, through these two directors, but also just the types of movies that exist in the French New Wave.
Yeah.
You know, like a character. They're both character pieces, but they're so different in how they use it formally, right? Like
Yeah.
one of them is way more influenced by the film noir in Hollywood, like Godard, and he's way more fast-paced, energetic versus
Real life.
400 Blows.
Influenced by real life.
It's trying to be more authentically real life in terms of slower pace, slower camera.
Yeah,
that
Breathless
kind
is
of
more is more inspired by movies, and
Yes.
400 Blows is more inspired by real life. Yeah.
Yes, and some. But then you can see the influence of movies and Truffaut.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying there isn't,
yes,
but
I
I'm
know what
saying
you're
most
saying.
for the
Yes.
most part.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. There's a lot of different reasons to like both.
Yeah. So, what about you, Blake? What
I would recommend both also. I've seen Breathless twice. I mean, I can't not recommend it. I mean, I'd recommend both of them, at least to watch once.
Okay.
After that, you can make your own decision. But
Because honestly, we might have to tweak this question in future because how many movies are we going to review where we're going to be like, we're not
Oh
recommending
yeah, that's
this?
true.
You know
I
what
didn't even
mean?
think
Like,
about
how
that.
many times are we going to be like, yeah, let's pick a movie we're not going to
Yeah.
recommend? So we'll tweak this, but
Yeah.
okay, still answer the question though, because I just thought of that.
I mean,
So-
I have to recommend both.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, it's kind of obvious since we did a whole episode on them.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert. I like the movies, all right.
Okay.
But I mean,
we'll workshop that. We'll workshop
yeah,
that.
but
We got
I
time,
mean,
we got time.
to get in just a little bit into it, I mean, like I said about Breathless, I mean, I feel like you can show it to anyone, and they at least find some parts entertaining, and it's more accessible. Obviously, there's some scenes that I feel like the bedroom scene. I feel like a lot of people would kind of be like bored by it, but
Yes,
and then
especially if you don't see it coming. Like, why is this
Yeah.
happening? Like, isn't it supposed to be an action, like a fast-paced movie? But
Yeah.
to me, like watching this time, even the bedroom dialogue scene, it honestly feels to me the most energetic of the whole movie.
that is true. Yeah.
Because honestly, I mean, that's the type of movies I like more nowadays. It's like getting to know the character through just the way the director chooses to shoot a movie and the dialogue they choose to use.
Yeah.
But
And then I mean, 400 Blows. I feel like I've said my piece on that. I mean,
Yes. Oh, yeah,
it's the
let's
400 Blows. I mean, there's nothing else to add. I mean,
so why don't you just yeah, I feel like that's a good place to wrap it up.
yeah. I mean,
Introduce next
next
what
week.
are we talking about
Next week we'll be going over movies that influenced the French New Wave. So stick around for
which
that.
movies are we gonna be doing again?
Bicycle Thieves.
Bicycle Thieves for sure. Italian neorealism.
And the Howard Hawks one,
Film noir. The Big Sleep.
The Big Sleep. Yes.
I think that's a good. And then from there, we'll kind of go into more movies we want to talk about that influenced the French New Wave.
Yeah.
But
Those will be
are
the two main ones.
Those will be the title episode movies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
man.
man.
But anything else to add, Luke?
Nah.
All right. See you next week.
See ya.
Bye.